The European Union held their first election in 1979. The turnout was a little bit of a disappointment, as only 62% of those voters eligible actually participated. Leaders of the European Economic Community hoped and assumed that that percentage was going to rise. But the trend went the other way. And in fact, by 2013, voting levels were falling into the lower 40%, which in the European context was pretty lousy. European national elections get anywhere from 60 up until the 90% of eligible voters. Even more discouragingly, polls showed that voters tended to make their decisions not based on the larger pan-European parties, but rather on their feelings about what was going on between parties in their own countries. There's a widespread view, largely accurate, throughout the European Union that the democratically elected parliament is not as powerful as the EU bureaucracy or appointed officials. These were bad signs for the European Union. Europeans did not seem to be investing in EU politics or European Union citizenship. But in other ways, the EU continued moving forward. Through a series of treaties in the 80s and 90s, the European Union adopts one immigration policy. There are to be no borders that are enforced in terms of tariffs or customs. The right of citizenship is Europeanized. In all parts of the EU, they will be subject to and protected by European Union law. The European Union adopts a single European currency. All traits that we would have thought of as the prerogative of nation states. But the European Union had a number of stumbling blocks in addition to Brexit. Having one currency while countries had different fiscal policies, different policies of taxing and spending, proved to cause large problems. What are sometimes called the gypsy economies ended up owing billions of dollars to the rest of the European Union, in particular to Germany. Fear of terrorism convinced a number of nations to temporarily or permanently close some of their borders. Hundreds of thousands of refugees fleeing the Middle East, particularly from Syria, put pressure on the European Union. Neo-nationalist parties across Europe have capitalized on concerns about immigrants competing for jobs and on fear of Islamic culture. Most recently, the EU's response to the COVID pandemic has emphasized individual countries' solutions rather than a Europe-wide approach to the problem. We shouldn't take any of this as signs that Europeans have soured on the European Union. While there are anti-EU parties in many European countries, we should also remember that the United Kingdom always had some ambivalence about joining the EU. Opinion on EU membership has become stronger in both directions, more polarized. About 2/3 of European Union citizens told pollsters that they believed their country's membership was a good thing. That's actually the highest number in more than 35 years. Magic power reunites all that's custom has divided. All men become brothers.